painting the Deathwing Knights again. Second day painting. Been working away on their cloths, the tapestries, the robes on them. So, we'll see how it goes. Just kind of chipping away as much as I can when I can find the time. So, hopefully you guys had a great week. It's Friday. So, well, actually, no, heck, today's Saturday, huh? See, that's how my week went, y'all. It's all a blur. But hopefully you guys are having a good time. Hopefully you guys are working on some stuff tonight. And we can have some fun together. Yeah. Well, let's make it happen. All right. Make some room over here. Touching up some of this green I did the other day. Getting that second coat on. But yeah, weekend wonders. Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
See, they don't look that yellow today. What you working on over there?
I'm looking for my charger so I can charge my Chromebook so I can use 2 monitors. I think he has a Chromebook charger for that, so I gotta go get that. And apparently my chair is incredibly squeaky.
Yeah, it's all good though. Earlier today I was listening to some of the Watchers in the Dark lore. It doesn't really answer much or anything except that they're against chaos. So, I'm trying to catch up on my Dark Angel stuff. icons, moving them around in different positions. You get to see where you're missing stuff still. See, yeah, look at hey.
Oh, it's laggy.
Yeah. This is the same kind of thing that was happening last time. It would lag and cut out and drop.
That's frustrating.
I even a spinning wheel. So probably gonna be pretty useless. Hey, thanks for the like. How you doing today? Yeah, hopefully pretty good. It's the weekend. Hey, thanks for the other like. Appreciate it. Just touching up some of the green I did the other day before moving on to the new stuff. Hey guys, thanks for the likes. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I'm just touching up the first coat I did the other day before I move on to the last little bit. Try and get these greens done. I'm not the quickest highest, but I enjoy my time. And hopefully all you guys are working on something and getting some stuff done too.
Right.
Yes.
Why don't we do this ending for the month today? I'm trying to do my closet.
That's getting a lot right now. And because I didn't know that winter stay was like that. But it's your turn for a shot. And it's 7 o'clock.
What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you guys are having a good night. Hope you guys are working some stuff. I'm chipping on this, and I've discovered that I tend to hold my breath a good bit while it's hard to really talk at the same time. But making progress, chipping away at it. Earlier today was catching up on some of the like Watchers in the Dark lore. I know we talked about it before. It's like very ambiguous. I think it can kind of be whatever you want. But all we can really say is that they say that they are against chaos, but they also believe that like humanity is, you know, the source of all the chaotic powers, which is very accurate. But yeah, glad you guys are hanging out, putting that work in. I've definitely discovered that even with the cleanup process of the oil wash, it makes the green paint I'm using act a little funky. Tends to have a little worse coverage on it. Just trying to be real careful as I get close to that armor that we already got done. Like I know we're doing like the base coats right now. I'm gonna come back over on this other stuff, but I still try to keep it neat and clean. Another little tip is you paint the deeper details first, because when you do the stuff on top, you can clean it up. And it tends to be easier than trying to be careful with the deeper stuff. But yeah, what you guys working on tonight? Anybody got anything special going on? I know the other day we had some Eldar going, some Necrons going, some Tyranids going. Did you get your post made?
I forgot about it and I'm working on it again.
Yeah. Making it happen. You guys experiencing any issues with the live stream? Is it coming in okay for you guys, or is it kind of messed up? I've been having issues with my internet. Just finish your whole pile of shame? I can't believe that you finished a whole pile of shame, sir. That's like awe-inspiring. Kind of like take away my breath kind of moment. I definitely can't say that. I'm just lucky if I get the chance to build something the same month that I buy it. Alright, but I gotta keep it real. Since you finished the pile of shame, what's your next purchase? Hey, thanks for the like. I appreciate it. It truly does mean the world. Alright. That's the first coat on the front. I'll come back to that in a minute. I don't know. Thinking of starting a new army. Okay. I'm sure you got some things in mind. What'd you just finish? Was it like a Loyalist, Imperial, Xeno? Because that's kind of what I'm working on right now. This is my New Year, new army project. I think I'm going to get my 2,000 points and be done with it. I think right now I'm around 1,200. Like the Primarch and the Termies are a lot. Some Marines. That's awesome. I'm a little biased though. I do like the Marines. But I mean, don't hold it against me. The first time I ever saw any sort of like Games Workshop models or whatever, I really liked the look of the Tau. I knew nothing about them at all. I just kind of walked into the store and like the robot kind of look. And honestly, it was the Fire Warriors that really got me like, ooh, those are cool. But it wasn't some years later until I actually picked up the game and the hobby. And I started with Marines, the Sultan and Black Reach box set. Got a little bit on that purity seal. Kind of want to keep that seal looking just the way it is. Just clean off the brush. Get some water on there. And I'll wipe it away. as you're working and painting. It helps to move the model around to let you get to different spots. And a lot of times this is what I'll do. I'll kind of like just brace it on the table. Now the only thing that can move is the hand with the brush in it instead of both hands. And then with this I can kind of brace it against my whole arm instead of just my hand and wrist. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out, enjoying the stream. Hopefully you guys are working on some stuff too, tackling that pile of shame. Because I know we all got one. I mean, buying Warhammer is its own hobby. You know, building, painting, that's a different thing. A little off camera there, sorry about that. All right. Call that first coat on those two done. Just a tidy up now, second coat. Get the color in nice and good. That first coat on that first guy. Should have had enough time to dry now. Slow and steady. Being a little careful around that purity seal. And then moving that pigment around on the model. Yeah, I hope you guys had a great week. Your weekend's going wonderful. Slaying that gray, getting some work done. I've been enjoying these guys. I think, you know, it's the detail, yes. It's much cleaner, crisper models. But I think it also is the scale. Like, I very much appreciate the larger size of the Terminator kits. maybe this has had enough time to dry up. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Getting that second coat in over here. Making sure to be careful around all that detail. Like, these guys have a lot of detail on them, but it's not so much that it feels intimidating. It's like a good balance. Like, I remember when the blade guard had first come out, and my mind, those guys just had way too much going on. Like, they were fun to paint, but kind of a slog too. Especially if you got used to painting with that first generation of Primaris Marines. That first little batch of Primaris had like no super detail on them. Like, they were clean and crisp, very much like factory fresh. And then the blade guard hit, and they have all the cloth and the details and the reliquaries, and it kind of felt more like the grim dark aesthetic was coming back a little bit. And check the backs. Make sure we got full coverage going on back here. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming in, hanging out, liking. If you enjoy the hangout, subscribe. I do this a good bit. And it helps keep me honest with my hobby stuff too. If I know, hey, I gotta hop on, get some work done, and let people know how the project's coming, keeps me motivated to keep going. There we go. Take a look at the first batch real quick. Make sure they're looking all right. We'll touch up here. I know I probably mentioned this last time I was working on them. I don't exactly know why, but this color scheme kind of reminds me of like Christmas. I really don't know why, but it definitely does. Clean up that brush. Make sure my little kit Ash Lieutenant's looking good. Look at the roll. Make sure that color's just good and thick. Don't see any of that undercoat through there. See, and again, that's that ability to press it down into the table, keep it still, keep it steady. All right. Not too bad, not too bad. Alright, I think the next thing I'm going to work on, since I got that bone armor done and that cloth done, I'm going to hit the purity seals with micro pen and get that lettering on there. What size brush are you using? Oh, for the purity seals and whatnot, it's just a micro pen, a 0.05, like a 005. And the base brush I was using, I think it's a 1.3. So it's got a fine tip, but the belly's pretty big. I've used that one for quite a long time. So I might be mistaken on that one. Two purity seals on the body. He's got one set on his weapon over here. But it tends to be a good idea to use the biggest brush you're comfortable in, just because it tends to hold a little bit more paint and you don't have to go back and forth. If you gotta get a bit of moisture in your brush too with the paint, that helps out. Smaller brushes, they tend to dry out quicker on you. It's harder to have the paint flow off. Then you're always kind of going back and forth to your paint source. But all my brushes are pretty standard, cheap synthetic brushes. I don't got anything fancy as far as that goes. But definitely find the pen is the best way to go about the purity seals. I might be getting to that point where I need to transfer off my prime handles and onto my painting handles. But yeah, if you guys are hanging out, enjoying yourself, hey, I appreciate the like. It means a lot to me. You know, all that YouTube stuff, you know, like, share, subscribe. Yeah, really does help out a lot. Especially with us little guys. So far, it seems like all the purity seals are front and center, nothing on the back, which is nice. But you know, I say that, and one of you's like, "You missed one." I just do some horizontal squiggles. Then every now and then hit it with a vertical squiggle, like it's a capital letter, or like that fancy Gothic script kind of lettering. Let's see if you guys can get in there and see that. about you guys. Got any projects you're working on, chipping away on? Never seen this method done before, but I get it. I have the same Deathwing that I painted in the early 90s. Second edition, it was a chore with the bone, shading, and highlighting. But I'm currently working on until our daughter soldiers converted 72 minutes. Oh, that's cool. 11 to go. Get it, man. Yeah, it's I picked it up a little while ago. But it's just micro pen. There's all sorts of different colors for it. But it helps get good little squiggles, and it rocks pretty quick. Like I just did 10 Deathwing Knights and all their purity seals in a couple minutes. Just some horizontal squiggles, come back in with some key spots and do a few like verticals. Kind of makes it look like some capital letters in there. If you really wanted to, you could like really brace it and dig the pen. Yeah, it's just a pen. No, it is a felt tip. It's probably darn near impossible to tell on the screen. Let's see if I can get there. So it is a 005 micro pen, and basically it's a little felt tip. It's absolutely tiny, and you can always get in there and do that. And I do have a paint set with them. They come in different colors. Most commonly, I use the black. The one thing I wish they had, I've yet to be able to find, is a white. The reason I say that is this would be the ideal choice for like eyes. I picked mine up from Hobby Lobby, but pretty sure you could order them off the internet and whatnot. You just lay it out. Like I said, some horizontal squiggles. A few vertical squiggles every now and then. And it comes out like pretty decent little writing. Now I have on like some vehicles before really taken my time and like did a little calligraphy, but oh, it's super convenient. I just did 11 models and a couple models. There you go. Yeah, and you know, like, I feel like as wargamers, we sometimes limit ourselves to the products, what the brand is. Pigma? Yeah. Sakura Pigma, maybe? But that's what you're looking for. The best thing is that 005, because that's the size of it. Like, the bigger the number, the bigger the tip. So you want to find the smallest number you can get there. It's a Japanese product. But, yeah, they're pretty awesome. Let me see if I can get in here and show you. Comes in. And this is like a 1. It's a little bigger. But this is what the pack looks like. And in here, yeah, when I got it, it was like $16. But it comes with pink, red, green, blue. Yeah, no worries. If you get them, I'm sure they will treat you well. But yeah, I've used them on eyes before to get those extra little highlights punched in there without doing too much work. That tends to be pretty good. Yeah. It's definitely one of the best little secrets I've figured out. They're all packed away in my army case. And let me see. Yeah, this guy's on my shelf over here. So that is an Imperial Fist Ancient I got. And the fist itself was done with the pen. The Honor of Faith, the lettering, that's all done with that. The Purity Seal, same thing. But yeah. Back when the hobby life started, things like airbrushing didn't exist, nor did the pens. It was a raw paint. Yeah, same. Definitely same. And you know, I used to hear like it's a poor artist who blames their tools, but gotta be honest, tools are a big part of like successful like experience in the hobby. If you're working with like low quality things, it just makes everything harder. But I'll go ahead and take these guys off. Like, these are, like, even the painting handle. Well, I've always thought that it should be done that way because I can paint, but I'm more about doing conversions. I like assembling them. Oh, yeah. So I go through, like, waves, which I guess is fortunate because I kind of get to like all aspects of it. But I'll go through, like, building waves where I'll just, like, rock and roll and pound through some builds and have no desire to paint. And then there's times where I'm just like rocking and rolling and painting and painting and painting. And yeah, that's the cool thing about the hobby though. You can always find something to do with it. So even with these, like the more I move them around and look at them. Oh, it's a lip touch up. But like, even like the little paint handle I use to prime, that took me a couple of years of doing it, and it's just you know, duct tape on a painter stick with like a weighted handle, and you know, magnet with a washer on an old office chair, so I can spin it around, get in there. But I tend to do my priming and washing on the prime handle I got. But when it starts getting into like the nitty gritty of painting, I transfer over. And on some like one-off characters, I'll prime them on there. No worries. Like, you know, so some of my painting handles, they got primer on them too. I'll prime on there. This might sound silly too. When I prime, I usually get spray paint like all over my arm and hand or whatever, and it's just, you know, clean up. Lately, what I've been doing is I'll put my hand inside of a grocery bag, like a plastic bag for you from like the, you know, the grocery store, and then I'll prime, but my hand's all in the bag so it doesn't get all messy. Little things like that. Talking about the handle, I usually paint them just holding them in my hand, but to each their own. There's no proper way, you know. No, absolutely not. You know, for the longest time, that's how I did it. But like with things like these, I found I was holding them and I'd be putting my finger up on the top and I'd be slowly rubbing off all the paint on the tips. But with these, I can kind of just brace my hand and I can move it around, and then I can put them onto the table like good and flat, and I can like roll it on the table to get to certain spots. And you know, sometimes my hands get a little shaky, but that really helps. I spray paint into a cardboard box as a backdrop, yeah. Like a big box on the side, or you can cut it according to what you need, like a little mini spray booth. Yeah, I do that with my vehicles, because they're kind of like, especially with Marines, you know, flat, you know, they're bricks, right? With these guys, I find it really difficult to like get up and under there with them. I'm very hands-on, like my finger, yeah. But when I typically use colored primers. So like for these guys, I use this color here as the prime, and I want to make sure I got really good coverage everywhere, because that takes care of 90% of the armor work. I did an oil wash on these to you know, get it, you know, to that wash kind of recess look. So, you know. But my thing is always the less gray the model, the better. And I mean, some people out there, they got like 30, 40,000. Glidden, what is that? So that is a spray primer. It is probably my favorite primer that I've ever used. It's $8, $7.30, something like that. Glidden Max or something. Is that the color? Yeah. So Earthy Cane is the color. Max Flex is just a subset brand of their normal stuff, but this one is really cool because it doesn't really have any kind of smell to it, because when I bring them back inside and I don't want the house smelling, it dries. It says 5 minutes on the can, but it's more like 15 before I really feel like comfortable doing anything. And it shrinks really good, so it tightens to the model really well. And so I haven't really had issues like clogging up detail or anything like that. They have a Phantom Hue. I think that's what it's called. Let me grab it real quick. Yeah, Phantom Hue. You use a flat primer from Walmart, but if that's the stuff you use, it's legit. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, they do have other colors. So this one here, this one's pretty much exactly Lead Belcher. This is how I do all my Necrons and that kind of stuff. There's not a huge variety in colors. Home Depot is where I get it. And then I'm okay with the satin finish, just because of the way I paint. I'll prime in that color, and then I'll do an all-over wash, and that all-over wash tends to get rid of that shine. But since it's a satin coat, it allows the surface tension to be less and lets the wash really get in there and move everywhere. But it can be a little freaky when it's a little shiny. I know most people in the hobby don't like shiny models. But like I said, the way I do it is like all over prime, and then I do an all over wash. Takes away that shine, but that finish lets it get everywhere. What's that banging sound they got going on over there?
Lucas is playing the Connect 4 kind of game where you push it down.
Oh, gotcha.
Would you like me to ask him to not play that game?
He can play it, but it sounds like he's beating him with a baseball bat at the same time. Hey guys, I appreciate you hanging out. Awesome. Thank you for the likes, y'all. For us small guys, those likes really make a huge difference. And then I can't even explain what subscribing does, but you guys are awesome. And like the biggest thing is just the motivation to keep going, you know. But yeah, no, I've been at it for a while, and finding little different tools, techniques, tips, tricks, you know, anything to make it go easier on you. Interesting again. My main interest is conversions and making scenery. If I did play a game, it would be second ed. I can paint and just never consider myself an artist. And the techniques these days are so hardcore. Oh, 100%, man. Honestly, for about 3 or 4 years, I was like the terrain guy for our club. I made terrain out of foam core and like grout and all kind of stuff. I got really good at it. I enjoyed it. Like, you know, building worlds. Conversions, I'm not the best at, but like this little, I guess, kit bash that I did, just a little head swap and just throw a skull to take a, you know, vanilla kind of marine and make him a little more dark angel-y. Ooh, I missed a purity seal there. See, no one out there shouted that out? Yeah, I definitely need to get better with conversions. Honestly, I think I'm just afraid to try. I don't want to mess up something. But I've done a few kit bashes. Use tester's glue and a dental pick to perfection. Almost never use green stuff. Just the way the parts fit and the melting the plastic with the glue, which also makes it putty to speak. Is that that sprue goo? I hear a lot about sprue goo lately. I've been tempted to play around with it. But haven't quite pulled the trigger yet. There we go. And see, with that pen, it's just so easy to grab and go. And my go-to glue, I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Here it is. Gorilla Super Glue Gel. That's good stuff for me. My main thing with conversions is that you always have so many parts left over, and after a while you have a lot of parts. Then you start to mix and match and tweaks. That's awesome, man. And that's the thing, like having a well-stocked bit bin, that's good. There's a shop that I go to over in Florida. They have like a take apart, leave apart kind of thing. I've grabbed some pretty cool bits from there. I remember back when you'd have to pretty much do that. You ask the question, you ask the question, what is what? I like testers because it melts. Oh, sprue goo. I've seen where they take sprue clippings and they mix it with Tester's airbrush cleaner, I think it is, or something like that. And they pretty much make a putty for like filling gaps and whatnot. Yeah, the Testers, that melting action is really good. I've just never got into it. I have a couple friends that swear by it. Ugh, it reminds me of one day I walked into the hobby store. It makes experiments with acetone. I've seen that, heard of it. Nail polish remover is normally the easiest source of acetone. Oh, that's cool. I wonder why I was thinking airbrush cleaner. Yeah, there's a guy on YouTube. He makes all kind of stuff out of the sprue goo, like Titans and tanks, and it's honestly pretty impressive. I can see that. I basically do the same thing on the fly. I'll dab my dental pick in some testers and start to dab joints and stuff. Oh yeah. Airbrush thinner is mostly acetone, just less efficient way, I think. Oh, that makes sense. You know, that makes a lot of sense, because acetone will clean up paint and whatnot. So you run it through your airbrush that cleans it out. But, you know, they can probably... great for getting paint off your resin minis. But I'm pretty sure it'd take the resin mini with it, huh? I'd be afraid. Resin minis... I don't know. The first resin minis I got was the Failcast stuff. And just put a really bad experience with anything resin related. I don't know. I don't trust it. Finecast was a horrible thing. Airbrush vinegar food, no. Usually soap my minis at 9% alcohol for a few days. I use a toothbrush. Yeah, that's what I normally do. I'll use isopropyl. Now, I did make a mistake once where I left it like in isopropyl for like a week, and I came back and it dried out the plastic. You know how there's like usually a little bend with the plastic? It made it kind of brittle. It will melt plastics, won't do anything to resin. Oh, did not know that. I feel like I'm in that phase where I'm like holding my breath to paint. So what you working on tonight, guys? Hopefully you guys are working on something too. Somebody earlier said they finished their entire pile of shame, which kind of took my breath away. I don't think anybody's ever been able to say that before. I've left stuff over 10 days. Usually it's fine, but you know, some plastics seem to become soft. Yeah. And like the plastic, like I got old sprues, and it's a different color of plastics. I'm guessing they either changed their dye or their recipe or something over the years. I definitely feel like the newer stuff is a little softer than the old stuff. Usually 5 days is good. Yeah. Honestly, I've done stuff where I drop it in the isopropyl and, you know, go to the bathroom really, and then come back and can scrub it all off. But I know a lot of people swear by Simple Green. That's a real popular one too. Some plastics for the 90s are inherently soft. Yeah, easy to work with. Makes sense. Alright, looking at a reference image real quick. Yeah, okay. I don't know if I want to do that. Simple green, interesting. Yeah, it's supposed to be a more environmentally friendly cleaner. Another one that's used a lot is LA's Totally Awesome. I'm gonna be honest. I think the rubbing alcohol works a lot better. Also, the LA's Totally Awesome. I've discovered. I was with a buddy of mine, and he was cleaning out his refrigerator. I don't know. I think he bought it off of like Facebook Marketplace or something, and he just wanted to clean it. And he had some of that. He was cleaning the glass shells with it, and he's rubbing, and all of a sudden you hear pa 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 pa. The cleaner was like it broke all the glass. It like exploded. And like, if you read the bottle, it actually said don't use untempered glass. So 100% his fault, but still pretty crazy. Simple green works all right to strip. I prefer orange stuff, or just isopropyl though. Yeah, rubbing alcohol is the best, I think. I've heard of something kind of like a bio strip. I don't think it's like a US type product. But apparently it works really, really well, but it's also pretty expensive. It's one of those like really high-end luxury type items. But don't really feel like that's necessary. So why wouldn't you use a pen to fill in what you're doing right now? Because all the pens I have are really small. It would just take a lot of time. Like they do use like gunpla makers will use gunpla markers for stuff like this, and all those markers are pretty much like color matched to their plastics. But you tend to get more variety of colors and paints too. The red in that little marker set I was showing you, it's kind of like metallic-y. Which, if that's what you're going for, it's really good, but yeah, if it's not, it doesn't hit the thing. Like 3D drawing, so to speak. Absolutely. I mean, people who worry about painting models, when I first start to talk to them, I'll tell them, well, it's pretty much just coloring in a coloring book. You have the line work already there, and really it's just a matter of staying in the lines. When you get more advanced, there's all sorts of things that go into like pre-shading, dry brushing, wet blending, glazing, yada yada yada. But like initial base coating like this, it's a coloring book. Well, thank you. I've grown as a painter over the years, but I really don't think I'm great. I'm slow. Like a couple weeks ago, I had a stream where this guy was talking, and he was saying like, he's really slow and stuff. I'm like, yeah, man. And he was saying he watches a lot of YouTube people, as all of us do. And he was pretty much getting down on himself because he sees what they are able to accomplish. But I put it in perspective to him. I was like, look, a lot of the big YouTube guys, this is their job. like they do it 40 hours a week, you know, hundreds and hundreds of times. I'm old school, base coat, shading, dry brush, and details done. Yeah, going for table ready or parade ready. These will be table ready. But you know, I say that, and my table ready standards have gone up over the years. So like right now, my table ready standard is what old me's parade ready was. A couple of years ago. Is it a couple of years ago now? I don't even know. But I went to U.S. Open for Worlds in Austin. And I thought I was going to be like, selected for Armies on Parade kind of display thing. I built a whole backdrop, all kind of stuff. And I was not selected, which, it's whatever, is what it is. And I was talking to one of the judges, and he said, well, come over here. And he had all the armies pulled at that time. And he was just like, take a look, walk around. I was like, okay, no big deal. And then I came back. He's like, do you see why now? And I was like, yep, I definitely see why now. And, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I've actually been experimenting with these guys, too. So this is the first time I've done a brown oil wash. So I made my own little oil wash with mineral spirits and whatnot. And that was a little nerve-wracking. But I think it worked out great. I have noticed that it's making the paint that I'm doing right now behave a little differently. Because I didn't do it the way that oil washes normally go down. Normally they'll do the entire model. I was just watching a live battle report, which was done well, but some of these, the bases weren't done, and some of the minis were very basic table ready, so just paint the slop and you're good. Well, and that's the thing too. I remember years ago, I was watching Mini War Gaming, and Matt was talking about how everyone thinks his army is so great, and he's like, well, it looks great on camera, especially for battle reports, 3-4 feet away. But if you pick them up and really look at them, and he did, he's like, they're basic tabletop, and he's like, oh yeah. Now you start to see that, could be better. But I mean, people paint in this hobby for all sorts of different reasons, and if your thing is playing, as you watch them, okay, there are some good contrast in colors, you're doing well, vibrant, ancient looking, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I think the wash is what really gives it that feel. This is the oil I use, raw sienna. I think it really helps. So, and I'm still at the base coating stage. Just taking my time with it. You guys are probably gonna get fed up after a while of me doing Dark Angels. But this is my personal little challenge. New year, new army kind of thing. And what I'm pretty much doing, somebody asked before if I had a guide that I was going off of. I don't. What I'm doing is I'm using the box art. So I see right there, it kind of messed up. Got some of the paint onto the shield. Just clean off the brush real good. Leave it a little damp. A lot of times you can just erase it right off. Like it never happened. But yeah, I just look at the box art, and then I look at the colors that I have, and yeah, get as close as I can. And just away from a cat, no worries. Well, I appreciate it. When I get to the basing part, it's gonna be a very basic, like black soil, gray stone kind of deal. I used to do all sorts of crazy stuff with basing, but I find it hard to like blend in with different tables if it's too crazy. And then I kind of have started doing all my new armies with the same basic stuff, because if I ever like show them off together, they'll all look like they're in the same world. If that makes sense. My first box of Dark Angels was purchased in '93 in Orange County, California. I had to drive about 40 minutes to get there. I only had one box when I got home. It was a mini Lego. Legs were incomplete. Ugh. So I had to fake a shin and a boot. See, that's why you're probably more of a converter, because your first experience was with the conversions. You know? See, I'm looking at the box art. The box art is asking for this guy's shield to be green with red swords. They were pewter and plastic kits. When I got into it, the HQs were predominantly still metal. Some of them were just getting phased into fine cast. But I liked the way the metal models felt better, like especially for like HQs, that weight to them. So I made it a point to like go and find the metal models for my HQs still, and that desire for that weight is still today, which is why I put the washers in the base. Yeah, it gives them that extra weight to them. I used glue flour or something else, like kitchen powder thing. It worked, but it was pretty ugly. Oh, to like make the part? That's kind of cool. I've never thought to do that. I like weight too minis. Yeah, I do too. Makes them feel real. It kind of goes back to like Jurassic Park when they're in the car. He's playing with the night vision goggles, and the lawyer says, "Are they heavy?" "Yeah." "Well, that means they're expensive. Put them down." I was in junior high with limited resources. Hey man, no worries. I started playing maybe my freshman year of college, sophomore year. I'm not sure. Many moons ago. I was in a comic shop, and a friend of mine was trying to get me into like Yu-Gi-Oh! And in the back right corner, they were doing like a demo game and starting a league. And this salesman pretty much talked me into it. And I split the Assault on Black Reach box. And he was doing orcs, so I got the Marine side. And that's been a crippling debt addiction ever since. Worth it though, rewarding. Back in the day, you can get 5 minis for $7.50. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I pretty much try to buy all my stuff from friendly local game stores that offer a discount. One of the places I like to go, they do a swap meet twice a year, and it's kind of like a garage sale for miniatures. A superb deal, like too expensive. Black Reach is a good set. It was such a good set. But the swap meets, get a lot of good stuff from that. I don't really sell models anymore. I did it once, and I had like regret. I sold an Imperial Guard army. So I try to tell people, like, don't sell your stuff unless you absolutely need to. Just checking in to wish good luck. Have a great painting session. Hey man, I really appreciate that. It means the world, you guys stopping by, just hanging out and saying hey. It keeps me motivated to keep doing what I'm doing. And it's always good to hear from you guys. I know Saturday night for most people is a way more social thing. I use eBay a lot, but I bet a swap meet would be good. I get bits and bits and bits. Oh yeah. And swap meets tend to give, at least in my experience, like better deals even than eBay, because you don't get to pay the shipping, and the guys or gals who are selling, they don't have to pack it all up and hope it doesn't break, and so it's going to be even cheaper than eBay. And it's nice to be able to like pick it up, see it, and use it. No, but it really means the world that you came by and stopped in and said, hey man, I appreciate that a lot. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog in the background. Yeah, I'm waiting on a shipment from England. The shipping from more than parts, yeah. But they're going to be awesome. Woo! See, okay, I got a question for you, sir. If you like doing conversions and all this stuff, have you looked into like 3D printing? Getting like 3D printed bits, and you can have like your own factory. Oh, thanks, Pop Falls Workshop. I appreciate you coming by. How's that project you're working on? 19 trophy spikes that don't have crude heads. Very specific order. That's cool. So I'm guessing you do you main Drukari? Fills up the whole shop. Yeah. Out of curiosity, are you making a video out of it or no? Hey, thank you for the likes. It means a lot. I've looked into 3D printing and I have a few opinions on it. I've been a GW fan for 35 years. I'm a loyal fan. That being said, their prices have gotten really, yeah, no, you're not wrong. She is, you're not, okay. You know, I'm a Games Workshop fan too, but I don't think of it as something to replace. I think of it as something to like enhance. Um, that being said, I do on occasion do like GW specific events, and uh, they're pretty hard on the 3D prints and whatnot. But I've actually I was a drafting instructor for a long time, so I've modeled and designed my own things to be able to put on my models. And Games Workshop does not frown upon that. You can do that. So that's kind of how I got away with it. Hello, how's it going? Welcome in. Made 2 Verge Missing Primary Legions. There you go. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. It's a nice Saturday night to be getting some work done. Nice way to kind of cap off the week. Beastmen and the Demon Slayers. Oh, that's pretty cool. I know people keep asking if we'll ever get lore on the missing chapters, and the answer is absolutely never, because that lets us be creative. But people have a desire to know things, you know. But I've discovered, especially with trying to catch up on my Dark Angel lore, that sometimes not knowing is what makes it awesome. Like, you know, what are the Watchers in the Dark? Don't know, but really wouldn't want to know. You know? You know, who's good, who's bad? What's your army so far, mate? Right now for Dark Angels, it's the Inner Circle Task Force box set that came out for Christmas. I've added a Librarian to it, I've added a Lieutenant to it, and I've added some Hellblasters to it. But the rest of my stuff, I got more Ultramarines than I'd like to admit to. Got a bunch of Necrons, got a whole bunch of Demons, got some Sisters. I'm kind of I got a lot of stuff. But right now, I'm focusing on the New Year, New Army kind of thing. Well, this year, I made a Space Beastman army out of AOS box. Oh, that's awesome. Stars, that's cool. Not all painted. Yeah, the painting is the hard part, I think. It's definitely the time sink. Like, I watch these videos where it's like, I'm going to paint this whole army in 12 hours. And I'm like, sure you are. How much editing is in that video? Yeah, I just spent 45 minutes on a shield, you know? How much finished painting and building? How much have I finished painting and building? Quite a bit of my Ultramarines are all done. Say maybe half my Demons are done. Maybe 90% of my Necrons. My Tower all done. Sisters are probably my most lacking army. My Imperial Guard, I got a couple 2,000 point lists done. I just started working on Imperial Fist because I want to like challenge myself. 2,500 points of Dark Angel so far. That's awesome. Check my references real quick. interested in any cool units to get. For Dark Angels, I don't really know enough about what I'd like to get into. I think I want to get into their specific bike unit with like the plasma talons. I want to get some of those. But I wanted to look more like a Dark Angels army than be hyper competitive. Which might sound kind of silly. So I don't really know. If you got any good suggestions, I'd be happy to take them. Hey, thanks for the like. I appreciate that a lot. Keeps me motivated. Yeah, really cool's best. I agree. See, otherwise 27 armies. Whoa, 2,000 points. I'm holding off on Ravenwing until there are some updates for it, though. Considered converting some. Oh yeah, can so these bikes for it. Yeah, you know, you're probably right. That's probably the next thing that they're gonna get. You're probably not gonna see that kind of stuff till like 11th edition, though. I'm not trying to be negative. It's just I feel like Dark Angels have had their little spike of stuff. The Emperor's children's stuff looks pretty cool. The Lions Blade detachment looks fun as hell. Oh yeah, Raven was tough because they don't have many minis for it. Well, they had the speeders for the longest time, but it's almost like they squatted the speeder range. You know. Here, you know what I'm gonna do for a second? I'm gonna get something. Before I go too far. So, I don't know if you guys missed it or not, but I built the lion on stream. And he was a lot of fun. But I ended up magnetizing their head so I can switch them out for whatever I was interested in. So he's going to be a lot of fun. Kind of terrified to start painting him. Let me go. Girl, you laying my clothes again? The line, he's pretty good. He's knocked out Russ and almost decapitated Akron. He's okay. Yeah. Alright. The Ancient Lore. The Tomes of Knowledge. Let's see. Alright, so they do the insignias in red on the shoulders. I have him still in box. Yeah, one of the reasons I really wanted the Christmas box is he came in it. Alright, so they do the insignias in red. That's good. Now down here with the angel, that's green, white, and gold. These are all looking like I'm gonna get away with red on them. Let's see, what else I got? Same thing here. See, I haven't picked up a new codex in a while. I've just been doing like digital rules. But the old codexes, like this is the kind of stuff that means a lot. So you're watching electronic media that makes finding information easier while looking at a presentation of a paper book. The irony. Well, you know, I could be one of those lore channels where I come over here. In the name of absolution, across the galaxy, the dark angels strike without warning. And just have pictures of the book going. Still miffed about that box. Grabbed it for $200. Seller canceled on the order. Had to mark up to $300 to get another one. And then just like that, I found them for $250. So I live in Louisiana. But the store I like to go to is over in Pensacola, Florida. And they offer a discount. They are amazing people. They're very kind, very open. They're just awesome. So if I do decide to buy anything new in box, I usually call them up and they either ship out or I'll just go over there, make a weekend trip of it, hang out with them, and buy from them. So that box cost me $216 from them, which isn't terrible. It's good. I love books. I just think it's rather hysterical, the opposition of the internet. Yeah, you're not wrong. Here we go. Yeah, look at them, so squatty. All right, I'm gonna go red. Yeah. No, like I said, I haven't bought a new codex in a while, just because they're so expensive. But what I will do is I'll go into like used bookstores, because my son loves reading, and we'll go get some books for him. But I always check to see if anybody's like turned in any codexes, and usually I can find them for $5-10. Or after like an edition ends, people will like sell out, and it's like, hey man, that codex means literally nothing now. Might as well sell it, and I'll pick it up. Yeah, not really good. There we go. Because a lot of my friends, they're like hyper competitive players. So as the rules change, they kind of change with it. That brace on the table, kind of finicky. Man, the new Craig said it's $230 for 18 models. That's almost $13 a miniature. I know. I can't believe people just sell old stuff because it ain't new. I find that weird. I do too. But it kind of makes sense. And I'm going to kind of explain. So let's say you've been in this 20 years, right? And you got 20 years worth of codexes for 3 or 4 armies. You got to find places for it. And then you don't really use it anymore because it's not the current rule set. So you eventually get to the point where you're like, I might be able to sell this for, $10-15 and basically give myself a 30% discount on our next box of Marines. Well, heck, a long time ago, you could order bits from Games Workshop for like a mail-in catalog. But it's all part of like how you want a hobby, right? I don't really sell anything anymore. Like I said earlier, I sold one Imperial Guard army, and I really regretted it. So now I tell people, unless you absolutely have to sell an army to like survive, hold on to your stuff. But I got a little collection of old books, old codexes and whatnot. and mostly it's for that reason right there. I can go ahead and pull up a reference image, set it up on my desk, and get some work done. I mean, I'm really into the lore and painting. It has some old stuff, makes sense for me, but I get it where some of the others, just one of the rules was, yeah, Games Workshop has made a new 40K edition on average every 3 years for 30 years. So, yeah, there was a time where they didn't touch it for a while. It's an overhaul current points manual, absolutely. But the new stuff is pretty detailed. So when the new stuff came out, like the Primaris line, I said they're all monopose. And I got a lot of hate for it. People are like, no, they're not. No, they're not. But as the time has gone by, yeah, they're pretty much all monopose. Beautiful stuff. But anybody who bought this box is going to have the exact same guys that I got. Which I guess is cool. I mean, it makes sense for, like, game rules. But I don't know. I got so many points of the old stuff, like, none of it's even legal anymore. You know, they call it legends to make you sound neat, but it's just squatted. And you know, like, I don't get rid of stuff just because it's old. But I get why people do it. Especially like the Eldar guys. Their models are older than Google. So I've seen a lot of people, they've been selling their old Eldar kits and then picking up the new stuff. But I just have too much attachment. The conversion I'm doing all of our older materials, conversions are easy. I've yet to do conversions on the newer kits. If there's a will, there's a way. You use legends in your games? That's pretty neat. I have not been so fortunate to do so. The new stuff, it's not really easy to do conversions unless you're willing to like break out some saws and files and sands and like putty. They go together pretty like succinct with each other. But it's doable. Like head swaps are pretty easy. Cutting things at the wrist for weapons, you know, it's not okay in tournaments, but how many gamers are tournament games really? I agree with that. My locals were never really that way, but when I did the world tour for Games Workshop, you weren't allowed legends in that. Which was a shame. Like I had just built a scout list with speeders and everything, and like a week later, it was all gone. Couldn't use it. At one point, GW encouraged it. Yeah, they had like whole books on how to make tanks and all that kind of stuff. I was pretty disappointed for some Necron characters being moved to Necron Legends. Yeah, but you know, I feel like some of those guys are gonna come back once they have the sculpts. Sounds like a challenge. I have a few more armies to do before I get into the new stuff. But if it's possible, it can be. Yeah, well, look, absolutely. You know, before we had these models, there were nothing. So the fact that they exist is definitely doable. And especially if that's how you love the hobby, man, make it happen. Do some awesome stuff. But you know, the Necron stuff, I think right now, their stuff went into Legends because they didn't have new models for it. I can almost guarantee you it'll be a couple of years. But they'll make some new sculpts, they'll make a new wave, and they'll come back. Sorry, holding my breath. But if you guys are having a good time, drop a like, subscribe. It really means a lot to me. I do have a personal goal. I'd like to hit 1,000 subscribers this year. I don't know if it's even possible. And I'd like to get my watch hours up and maybe, just maybe, make a little money off of this stuff. Or at least have my hobby pay for itself. Aragon's my favorite. I really do hope he comes back. I love his lore and rules. The fact that he was stronger than most Necrons in terms of strength and toughness was neat. Then his arrow abilities, absolutely, man. He was cool. Nobody would really hate it if you played him as just a regular old like lord, and you would know what he was. But I can guarantee you, they'll come back. They just need to give time so they can make more money off of it. You know, everything Games Workshop does is a financial decision. You know, and if they have the lore for it, they don't have to pay to recreate it. So once they get a new sculpt that they can sell, tie some rules to him, he'll be back. Little red dot. Like Lysander for the Imperial Fist. He was my favorite forever. And he's just gone right now. But rumor on the street is he's going to be coming back soon. Also, a rumor that I've heard is when he does come back, he's going to be coming back as the chapter master instead of a sergeant. Because Imperial Fist chapter masters are kind of rare. I used to use Lysander all the time because he was one of the only units at the time that buffed a squad with bolter drill. They could all reroll. Lysander was very dope. And his lore was cool. And then he just kind of like disappeared. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I got a whole lot of Ultramarines. I got, you know, them pretty good. But I've always liked Imperial Fists. I just couldn't paint yellow to save my life. But with the new paints, the new techniques, yellow's actually pretty easy. I'm not saying that to like be controversial. It's just the technology's gotten better. Bam. How about the Horus Heresy? Have a bunch of them in the waiting. How hard is yellow to paint? I've never done it, mate. They will be worth grabbing a kill team at some point. Yellow is easy. Red is the worst. Okay, so there's a lot there. Let me cap that. Horus Heresy, I have a whole bunch of tanks I've already assembled and built for it. And I got some infantry in spruce still, but my goal with them is they're going to be Imperial Fists. I personally love the Horus Heresy lore, but I got a little test model on the side for them, real quick kind of thing. I will tell you exactly how I paint Imperial Fists, and it's super quick. What I do, yellow spray paint as my base. Then I hit it with an all over of Andin yellow contrast. It darkens it, gets all the shadows in place. And then after that, I stipple with, it's an older color, but Sunburst Yellow. And just that stippling motion and building it up. And the way that it works is that base yellow makes sure you get everything. Then the contrast gives you differentials in like your shadows. And then the stippling gives you your highlighting. You don't want to go into all your dark points, but it lets you highlight it up. Now, will it win any awards? No, but it will definitely look immaculate on a table. So yeah, it's on my list of things to do. And red, red is hard because normally you would highlight with a white, but it turns pink. So you gotta highlight basically with orange. And I find the way is you want to start with a deep red so you can highlight with brighter reds and then finally an orange on top of that. Like a reddish orange. My Tech Marine is packed up somewhere. White's kind of rough. But the trick with that is you shadow with blues. And then I did a short on how I do my whites, but I mix heavy bodied acrylics with white ink. And the reason that is it breaks down that heavy body acrylic, but it doesn't water it down because you're adding pigment to it when you add ink. And it goes on really nice. And then once you get your coat done, you shade with your blue. And then I'll come back with just the ink as like a glaze. And it does well. It's a lot of work. White is still really hard. I don't know if I trust the contrast white stuff yet, because it pretty much just looks like gray. Back in the day, with abstract colors, you weren't readily available. You would just use thinner layers of blood red or whatever. Yeah, back in the day, like the go-to for like high-end painting was glazing. Glazing's still really, really useful. Like it, even I guess today, even like high-end paints is glazing. Yeah. Dry brushing is your intro skill set. Glazing is that pro stuff. The trick to white is getting an airbrush. Oh my gosh, I have an airbrush. And I've tried using it for base coats. And it's a skill issue, 100%, I know. But the paint always rubs off. It doesn't stick like it should. No, honestly, airbrushing is a phenomenal asset to the hobby. But like I said, I'm bad at it. And when I was in Austin, in between games, they had a booth in the game area that was actually teaching airbrushing, and I spent a couple hours over there between games and whatnot. And I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he was definitely a professional at what he did. He was a master at what he did, and he was showing me a lot, teaching me a lot. And this is gonna sound pathetic, but it's my fault. I haven't had the urge or desire to practice and try. And that's 100% on me. Like, airbrush is right here, you know, and then you can literally see the dust on it. So, it's on me. I should definitely try. And that would be a pretty fun live stream, watching me fail miserably trying to use an airbrush. But I could be wrong. YouTube phases and trends for miniature painting, they come and go all the time. Like the big one was slap chop. Right now, there seems to be a revival of the John Blanche color palette, or the Zorn palette. And airbrushing really helps with that, because you can kind of just blast in colors. And it doesn't really matter where you put them, you know, as far as like blocking in. But it just makes it very interesting and very grim dark looking. So, if I want to become YouTube famous, I should probably tag that in there. But I can't do it. I'm old school, I use dry brushing a lot and the simple shading techniques. Some paint on the highlights makes it stand out. Yes, I love dry brushing. But what I'll say is, in places where I would normally dry brush, lately I have been stippling. Primarily because I get a little more control out of a stipple, and stippling kind of leaves a dotty or pitted kind of texture. Yeah, you hope Cavil's thing doesn't ruin it. I don't think it will. I have faith in Mr. Cavill and his love of the hobby and his super nerddom. I feel like he will represent us well. Probably off screen a little bit, aren't I? Stippling, so many techniques these days, yeah. I enjoy stippling. Oof. Like, let me see. I have a squad of Stern Guard off to the side for when like I need a palette cleanser. But that's stippled on there, the highlights. And it still catches the edges. Ooh, that's very bright on camera. But it still catches the edges, but you can kind of see them, get it closer. But you can see how it leaves like a more pitted kind of texture to it. It looks more like beat up armor. Yeah. The old Wife Dwarfs were cool. But a lot of their techniques and stuff got replaced by their YouTube channel. But even that, Games Workshop's gotten weird on, because they don't tell you like who the artists are anymore. And I think they did that because Duncan Rhodes and Peachy became famous for what they were doing. And when they left, it's like Games Workshop themselves lost that notoriety. Like, they don't even tell you who does the art in the codexes anymore. Heck, I don't even know if they tell you who writes the codexes anymore. And a pristine way, now showing battle damage is common. Yeah, I don't do battle damage I probably should. Sorry, I keep scooting off the table. I probably should. But my thought is Space Marines probably keep up with their gear pretty well. Yeah, they're the best of the best. They're the elite. So when you think about like a Navy SEAL, their gear is going to be immaculate. Now, if they've been in the field, 4, 5, 6 weeks, it might ding it up. But I don't think most Marine chapters get into long, drawn-out stuff. They're hit, get in, win, get out. Imperial Fists, maybe have more of a right to be dinged up. But then you listen to their lore, and their lore is more, take care of your gear. Fluorescent paints and gunbursts and gore all over. Yeah, there's some artists out there that does amazing things. You knew a SEAL, and you went to a couple SEAL graduations. I did as well. It's kind of one of the only reasons I even have like a Facebook page, just to keep up with some military buddies. But they might attest they're not going into combat with beat up gear. I was running back in high school, became a SEAL while in college in San Diego. That's awesome, man. I respect the heck out of those guys. But it makes sense. Like, if your gear is beat up, you're adding a potential variable towards failure. And SEALs being the best of the best, they do everything in their power to control that. We got into a oh no. But like, they control variables. So if their condition of gear is something they can control, I guarantee you they're going to control it. Marines would do the same thing, especially like Space Marines. It is. Marines don't get the good stuff. Should I ask who won the bar fight? But yeah, if you guys just join us, happy to hang out. I appreciate it. Drop a like, hang out, and work on some stuff. Join the conversation. But no, there's an artist. I think it's primarily his works on like Instagram. But he does all kind of stuff with like explosions, melta and plasma wounds, blowing holes through Marines, and like lighting effects. There's another gentleman who does work with that fluorescent purples and pinks. I think some of the new detail on sculpts is too much. I get what you're talking about gear, but not every panel and blank spot on the Marine needs detail. Absolutely. So like this kind of stuff right here, that makes me happy. That, a little less so. But this empty space gives opportunity. So if you wanted to freehand there if you wanted, or do some scroll work, writing, that lets us make it ours. But you don't have to do it. But when you come to like the crotch region, look at all this in the crotch region. Ropes and tassels and belts and buckles and skulls and purity seals and knives, and that's a lot. And I think the guy who did the YouTube videos of the Astartes, uh, those videos, I think he was the same kind of way. Like the chapter that he made for his videos are also pretty plain. His reasoning was probably it was easier to animate, but it also makes sense. My bud, the Buds trainee, was flirting with a girl in a crowded club. It didn't go so well. About 5 of her dude friends began struggling, and my friend and I were dealing with several of them for a bit. And see, that girl knew exactly what she was doing. She liked the attention. And if I offended the one girl who might be here, I apologize. A few seconds, seemingly gaining the upper hand, the other 5 Buds trainees did not participate. After about 10 seconds, my friend and I were dragged out of the bar, kicked to the street curb. Oh, I believe it. The other Buds guys were probably sitting there watching the show and didn't want their CEO to find out. All right. Cap that for a second. Clean up that brush. We walked down and away from the bar. We returned about 10 minutes later to meet up with our friend, and apparently the other 5 guys were fighting and got arrested, and we went to the bar. So, yeah, I think you won that one. They ended up in a cold floor. You guys got to enjoy your night. Alright. Breaking out the Tome of Knowledge. Alright, let's see. Red on the fists. All these guys' fists are covered in shields, so nothing there. Silver for the Terminatus. Wonder how best to do that. Right. Yeah, they probably did not have a good time. How to do silver here. Oops and yikes. Anyhow, that was like 25 years ago. Yeah. I don't know, my bar fighting days are long behind me. Let's see. I mean, lead belcher sounds like the obvious. This looks great. This could be fun. I need to buy myself a vortex mixer. This is gonna sound sad. Sometimes after shaking paints for a while, my hands get shaky, and that just makes painting really hard. Yeah, let's go lead belcher, I guess. Well, hey, what time is it? I don't even know what time it is. Ooh. You know what, actually, guys? I am probably going to give it a... I'm going to call it now. I just noticed what time it was. I was getting into it too much. But I got to drive about 4 hours to bring my son to a swim meet tomorrow. And I just realized what time it is. I mean, I don't want to call it because I'm feeling it. But I don't want to feel it tomorrow while driving, if you know what I mean. But no, you guys have been absolutely phenomenal tonight. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It means the world. Because hobbying alone can be kind of sad. And I appreciate the company. And you guys are awesome. But yeah, subscribe so you know when I'm doing this in the future, because I do plan on doing this a whole lot. You know, leave a like if you had a good time. But take care, you guys. I really appreciate it. And you guys have a great night. Take care. Bye.